morning, Trevor. Isn't it a beautiful morning? The sun's shining, God's in his heaven, and all's right with the world.
No, it isn't. You've had the top off the milk again.
Oh, sorry, Trevor, I didn't realise.
I always have the top off the milk, you know that. It's not you, it's the blue tits. Anyway, what have you got to be so cheerful about?
Everything. Laura's come back.
Are you sure?
Trevor, you're talking to a man in love. I knew when I got up this morning. The wind was whispering her name in the branches. The sparrows were chirping at my window. Laura's back, Laura's back. All nature had come alive. And you ask me if I'm sure?
Well, are you?
Yes, the car's in the drive.
I see. I suppose that means you're going to start chasing after her again.
Sometimes you're so naive, Trevor. She's come back because of me, drawn by invisible threads.
Invisible threads? Talking sparrows? Isn't it a bit early in the day for all this?
Or what?
All this guff.
Guff?
Trevor, did you know that Laura's back?
Yes, drawn by invisible threads, apparently.
Well, don't just sit there. Go and get dressed.
Well, what about my breakfast?
You can have that later. I've asked her round for coffee. And take that milk bottle off the table.
All right, Mary. You know he's had the top off the milk again, don't you?
Now, Howard, when Laura comes round, I want you to act perfectly naturally.
Of course.
Don't go making things up.
As if I would, Mary.
I mean, try to be honest with her.
I will.
But don't mention prison.
No.
Apart from that, just try to be yourself, if you can remember what that is.
You're right, Mary. My little sister's always right. No relationship should be based on deceit. Why didn't I realize that before? Laura! I had no idea you were back. Oh, I'm sorry. I know you don't want me here. I'll leave at once. I know my presence is offensive to you.
But Howard, I don't want you to leave.
Of course she doesn't.
No, I'll book into a hotel. I don't want to drive you away again, Laura.
You didn't drive me away.
I didn't.
Of course you didn't. Now, I'll get the coffee.
Oh, Mary.
I shan't be a moment.
No. Don't go, Laura. I want to look at you.
What?
You haven't changed a bit, Laura.
Well, I should hope not. I've only been away a week.
Well, a week can be a long time. Oh, don't look at me like that. I know what you're thinking. He's lost weight. He's a wreck.
No, Howard.
It's true. I haven't been eating, Laura.
Why's that?
You can ask that. Are you made of stone, Laura?
This is silly. You must eat.
You sound just like my doctor. He's concerned. He says I must take nourishment, but what can I do? I've lost the will.
Because of me.
If I should go, suddenly, I just want to know that you can forgive me for all those lies.
Of course I forgive you.
I was just trying to impress you, that's all, and now I have this terrible fear that you might have thought that I was after your money. I know the idea is ridiculous.
No, I don't think that.
You don't?
I know the money will always be an insurmountable barrier between us.
How can you say that?
I didn't say it, you did.
Did I? But that was before. Things have changed. You see, I have this numbered account in a Swiss bank, and there were currency problems, but now everything's been resolved. Money's no obstacle, so we can start again. A new beginning. Complete honesty between us.
Well, perhaps, if you promise to start eating again.
I promise.
Hello, Laura.
Morning.
Sorry I haven't finished my breakfast, but Howard's just eaten his way through all my sugar puffs.
I wonder how Mary's getting on with that coffee.
I wouldn't mind, but he's already had bacon and egg and sausage and fried bread.
Shall we go through for the coffee?
I don't know where he puts it all. Eating us out of house and home, he is.
Is he really? Excuse me. I'll just give Mary a hand with the coffee. That is, if you're able to take coffee, Howard.
Blabbermouth.
Poor Howard.
What do you mean, poor Howard?
He's not getting anywhere with Laura.
I'm not surprised.
Neither am I. It's his own fault. I did try and warn him. Apparently this time he told her he had money.
What?
A numbered account in a Swiss bank, but there's been some snag.
You mean he can't remember the number? Well, let's face it, Mary, the only numbered account he's got is with the Social Security people. Is that where he is now, collecting his gyro?
No, as a matter of fact, he's buying Laura a little present.
Howard? I don't believe it.
You never give him a chance, do you, Trevor? You're so quick to condemn. Well, one day he's going to surprise you.
Well, he'll surprise me if he buys her a present. He never buys presents for anyone, Howard.
Hello, Laura, this is Howard. I wonder whether I could come over and... right impression. That's why I've got her this. I hope it will change her mind. What do you think?
Where have you been? Woolworths?
No. Fortescue's.
Fortescue's? Oh, they have some nice pieces there. Not bad. Not good enough to fool the connoisseur, but those diamonds are quite convincing. The rubies look almost real.
They are real.
What? How much?
7.
£700? You must be mad.
No, not 700, Trevor.
Oh, thank goodness. You had me worried for a moment, Howard.
7,000.
You haven't got £7,000, Howard.
I know. I got it on approval.
You couldn't have done. I know old Fortescue. He wouldn't let a thing like that out on approval.
Well, I gave him a very good reference.
You must have done. Who was it?
You, Trevor.
I haven't got £7,000, Howard. Take it back at once. That's false pretenses.
Don't worry, I'll take it back.
But I thought you were going to give it to Laura.
I am, but she won't accept it.
Won't she?
Oh, put yourself in her shoes. She's hardly going to accept such an expensive present from a man she hardly knows.
You sure?
Of course I'm sure. She'll reject it gently but firmly. Laura's that kind of woman. You can't buy her love.
Well, if she's going to reject it gently but firmly, why give it to her in the first place?
Because she's a woman. She'll be flattered. When she opens this box, there'll be a sharp intake of breath. And then she'll say, but I can't take this, Howard. You can't bribe your way into my affections. But the cheek will be flushed. There'll be tears in her eyes. She'll call me a fool, but the voice will be gentle. She'll see me in a new light. A man who can make the great gesture. A man who will hazard all for love. And it won't have cost me a penny.
You crafty devil.
No, just a man who understands women, Trevor.
Mary said you wanted to see me, Howard. Not that I think there's anything to discuss.
You're right, Laura. This is no time for high-sounding phrases. They can't express the way I feel. Fine words butter no parsnips, Laura.
No, I suppose not.
But perhaps this little offering can express the depth of my feeling for you.
Little offering?
It's for you, Laura.
Oh, no, I couldn't.
Oh, please, open it.
It's beautiful. But it must have been horribly expensive.
Yes, it was.
Howard, what can I say?
I see. How can I have been so insensitive? I know what you're trying to say. You can't possibly accept such an expensive gift from a man you hardly know.
I wasn't trying to say that exactly.
No, but you were thinking it, and you'd be right. I've offended you.
No, I'm not offended.
But you must be. No, it was wrong of me to try and bribe my way into your affections. What was I thinking of? Now, if you'd just like to give me back the bracelet.
But Howard...
No, I'll try and hide my disappointment the best I can and hope that one day you will be able to accept a gift from me in the right spirit. Meanwhile, if you'd just like to put it back in the box.
But Howard, how can I hurt your feelings like this?
My feelings don't come into it. You must follow your instincts. Now, just put it back in the box and I'll return it to the shop.
You really think I should follow my instincts?
Of course.
Well, my instinct is to accept it.
What?
Well, Howard, how did it go? Were there tears of gratitude? Did she reject it gently but firmly?
No, she accepted it.
What?
So when she comes in here, you say you don't like it.
Well, I do like it.
Or perhaps you'd like to pay the 7,000.
Oh, I I don't like it that much.
And then there's the question of your name as a reference, which makes you a party to, what did you call it? False pretenses.
In fact, I don't like it at all.
Trevor, just look what Howard's bought Laura. Isn't it the most exquisite bracelet? Don't you think it's lovely?
No, as a matter of fact, I don't.
Don't be ridiculous, Trevor.
No, Mary, let Trevor have his say. After all, he's entitled to his opinion. Don't you agree, Laura?
Well, yes, but it doesn't really matter. The important thing is I like it.
Well, of course you do, so why should Trevor's opinion, honestly held, concern you? After all, he's looking at it from the male viewpoint.
You mean he thinks it was expensive?
No, he means it doesn't attract him as a man.
Well, no one's asking him to wear it.
Are you trying to say you think it's a shade vulgar, Trevor?
Vulgar?
Yes, that's right.
Did you hear that, Laura? Trevor thinks it's a shade vulgar.
Really, Trevor?
No, I think he may have a point there. It was rather dark in the shop, and now I look at it, it does look rather garish.
But Trevor doesn't know anything about jewellery. He only goes to Fortescue's to have his watch cleaned.
So be that as it may, I think he's pointed out something that we've all missed. I mean, it is rather ostentatious. Some things can be too expensive.
No, absolutely.
Thank you for pointing that out, Trevor.
It's all right, Howard?
So what do you suggest? Something simple in gold?
Yeah, something simple in gold would be much better.
That's a very good suggestion, Trevor. So if you'd like to slip it off your wrist, Laura, I'll go and exchange it for something simple in gold.
No, that won't be necessary. I like it, and it fits perfectly.
Yes, well, I don't think Trevor thinks it fits perfectly.
Why don't you shut up, Trevor?
Yes, I can tell by the way he's looking at it. He thinks it's rather loose. Don't you, Trevor?
Yes.
He doesn't like the way it slides up and down your arm like that. He thinks it could slip over your wrist, you see. You're not very observant, are you, Trevor?
Don't worry about it, Trevor. I value it far too much to let that happen. Now, I'm going to see what it looks like with that new dress.
How dare you talk to Laura like that?
What did I say?
It's one thing to have an opinion, it's another to be rude. And how do you think Howard felt? Don't let him hurt you like that, Howard. It was a wonderful gesture. I only wish someone thought enough of me to buy something as beautiful as that.
Mary?
Blabbermouth. Laura. Oh, hello, Laura. I just popped over. I wondered where you were.
Did you? Well, actually, I'm just about to go shopping.
I see you're not wearing a bracelet.
Not to go shopping, Howard.
It's not just that, is it? You felt it too.
Felt what?
A sense of foreboding.
No, why should I feel a sense of foreboding?
What's that on your arm?
Oh, that. It's a burn. I caught it on the oven door.
So it's started already.
What has?
The curse of the Grizzlies.
I don't understand.
Oh, I was a fool not to listen to the stories. You see, that bracelet's antique, Laura. It's been in the Grizzly family for years, and it brought them nothing but bad luck.
I didn't know anything about that.
But surely you've heard of the Grizzly bracelet. It was acquired by Uzziah Grizzly in India just before the mutiny. He was the one they found at the very bottom of the Black Hole of Calcutta. Apparently he went in first to get a seat. And since then, the family has known nothing but misfortune, particularly on the female side.
But Howard, I'm only going to the supermarket. What can happen?
You could get run down by a wire trolley. You could get felled by a tin of baked beans. You may scoff, Laura, but that burn on your arm is just a beginning, and I could never forgive myself if anything happened to you. Now, I suggest you give me back the bracelet. I'll return to the shop and exchange it for something more appropriate. What about a charm bracelet?
I don't want a charm bracelet. And how can you say I'm unlucky when I've met someone as warm, as wonderful, as generous as you are?
What?
You sure she's out, Howard?
Yes, she's gone shopping. She won't be back for hours. There's plenty of time to search the place.
What do we do when we find it?
We take it and make it look like theft.
But it is theft.
No, it isn't. You can't steal your own property.
It isn't your property. You gave it to her.
No, they gave it to me to give to her if I gave the money to them. Now, if I don't get it back from her to give to them, they want the money from me. It's quite straightforward. Unless you want to give the money to me to give to them and leave it with her.
No, you know I can't do that.
Right, then smash a pane of glass, will you?
What for?
To make it look like a break-in and watch your fingerprints.
I'm not smashing any glass.
Then what is your modus operandi?
Pardon?
Well, did you climb up the drain pipe, unpick a lock, or just stroll in casually? What's your trademark?
I haven't got a trademark. I've never done this before, and I'm not going to do it now. I simply said I'd help you look, and that's all.
Now, listen, Trevor. That bracelet may be upstairs in her bedroom. I can't go up there.
You can't?
Well, what would she think if she found me up there?
What would you think if you found me?
Not a great deal, Trevor.
But what could I say?
Well, say that you'd gone up there to release a trapped budgerigar.
Ridiculous. I mean, what if the police ask questions?
Well, that's all right. You've got an alibi.
What alibi?
You were playing cards with me. But we did see these two skulking figures, a tall Irishman with a limp and a small weasel-faced man with a scar.
A tall Irishman with a limp and a small weasel-faced man with a scar.
Good. The police love detail. And we don't want you breaking down under cross-examination.
What?
Oh, come on, get... Now, look, I'll stay down here and keep watch. And if I hear anybody coming, I'll whistle a tune.
What tune?
Danny Boy.
Well, Howard, won't you think it's strange you sitting here whistling Danny Boy?
You see? I've got the difficult job. Now, you go and try and find that bracelet unless you want Fortescue on your doorstep with 2 policemen.
Well, there's one thing certain, Laura. They didn't get out this way.
Who didn't?
The intruders. Tall, weasel-faced man with a limp. A small Irishman with a scar. We saw them loitering with intent. But you're safe and nothing missing.
Oh, I didn't think so. And I certainly haven't seen anyone, but I might have dropped off. Oh, just check and see if my bracelet's there, will you? It's in my jewel box.
How are you getting on? What are you whistling for? Have you found it?
Find what, Howard?
The budgerigar.
Budgerigar? Trevor didn't say anything about a budgerigar. He was looking for intruders.
Ah, you mean the tall Irishman with a limp and the small weasel-faced man with a scar?
No, the small Irishman with a scar and the tall weasel-faced man with a limp. And he didn't say anything about a budgerigar.
But the budgerigar is part of the gang. They use it to gain entrance. Then they come into the house to retrieve the budgerigar and pick up anything they can find.
Well, nothing appears to be missing,
Oh, good. Then it would appear the birds have flown.
including the budgerigar.
Shall we look round the garden, Trevor? And full marks for vigilance and quick thinking. Oh, Laura, perhaps you'd like to let me have the bracelet and I'll lock it in my safe deposit box until these villains are apprehended.
No, that won't be necessary. I'm fully insured.
But a woman alone and that Irishman looked rather nasty.
The little Irishman or the big Irishman? Oh, Trevor, how did you know he was an Irishman?
How did I know?
I think it was the shillelagh, Trevor.
Yes, I'll let you know. Goodbye.
Oh, Trevor, I wonder if you could keep Mary occupied this evening. Only I've got Laura coming over at any moment, and I think tonight could be the night.
Could it really, Howard?
Yes, that bracelet certainly worked wonders.
Yes, talking of that bracelet, that was Fortescue on the phone. He wants to know whether you intend paying for it.
Well, you know how I'm fixed at the moment.
In that case, he wants it back in his shop first thing tomorrow.
Well, he's not the only one.
Oh, Howard, you'll have to ask her for it back.
You mean tell the truth?
Well, don't look so shocked, Howard. Some people do it all the time.
Well, I can't just ask for it back.
Well, then you'll have to quarrel with her, and then she'll give it back.
Are you sure?
Oh, yes, engaged couples do it all the time. They get tense and irritable, and then they quarrel. Next thing, the engagement ring's flying through the air.
You mean she'll just throw the bracelet back at you?
That's right.
Has it ever happened to you, Trevor?
Oh, yes, Mary was always throwing her engagement ring at me. I used to stand there like a slip fielder some nights.
Well, why was that, Trevor?
Well, Howard, you know what it's like, being engaged. Pressures.
Oh, yes.
Well, yes, you know, not being married and not really being single and feeling frustrated and... Well, Mary wouldn't. Well, not that she ever did. Anyone says she did, she didn't.
Didn't what?
Well, she wouldn't. Saving herself.
Ah.
For me, honeymoon. And I get irritable.
Well, it's not surprising, is it, Trevor? You were engaged for 5 years. Oh, that's Laura now.
Remember, Howard, you've got to get that bracelet back.
Hello, Howard. Am I late?
Yes.
What?
Let's get one thing straight, Laura. If you and I are going to get along, when I say 8 o'clock, I mean 8 o'clock. Not 10 minutes past.
Well, I'm sorry, Howard.
That's all right. I'll overlook it this time. Come and sit down over here. I see you're wearing the bracelet.
Yes. Isn't it lovely?
You really like it, don't you?
Of course.
Then what about a bit of appreciation? No, it's all right. Trevor and Mary won't disturb us. They know the score.
What score?
Oh, don't be coy with me, Laura. This maidenly modesty doesn't suit you. I don't mind you being loyal to the memory of your husband, but how long's the period of mourning going to last?
Howard, have you been drinking?
Well, what if I have? If I want to take a drink, I'll take a drink. I'll drink myself into a stupor if I want to. Don't try and change me, Laura.
I'm not trying to change you.
Oh, yes, you are. You're quite the little reformer, aren't you? Well, don't bring your tambourine around here. It may have worked with your husband, but not with me, because I was forged out there, under the sun, with the heat and the flies and the disease. We were freebooters, soldiers of fortune, and we drank our way through every frontier town in Africa. And if that shocks you, Laura, perhaps you should settle down and marry a Sunday school teacher, because where I come from, girlie, that bracelet says you're my woman.
Well, we can soon change that.
That's right, throw it at me. Well, what are you waiting for?
Perhaps you're right. Perhaps I have been dishonest.
No, you haven't been dishonest.
Perhaps I've been clinging to the past.
But I insulted you. Throw it at me. What are you waiting for?
How can I blame you?
Oh, blame me. Throw it in my face.
It's just that John was such a wonderful man.
I see. Well, I'm sick to... Trevor! You blithering idiot!